Ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to James Comey, he states that he didn't know that who Huma Abedin's husband was. He actually said that on CNN. He didn't know who Huma Abedin's husband was, or that he, of course, was a congressman, or that his name was Anthony Weiner. He didn't know. He also didn't know that the Steele dossier was purchased by Clinton. He didn't know a lot of things. He had no knowledge of a lot of things that are incriminating. But he should be trusted because he's so intelligent and he's so knowledgeable of everything to do with the intelligence community and all the horrible things that Russia could do to the election. So when caught in an overt lie, or when he's asked questions that could obviously lead to misconduct, wrongdoing, illegal behavior on his part, he's like, gosh, I don't know. I really didn't know that that fella Huma Abedin was married to. But then he goes on to just continually create this fantasy world that has to do two things simultaneously. The fantasy world he creates has to hold him up as this virtuous, brilliant FBI director who's privy to so much more information than you'll ever know, while at the same time telling the world that, gosh, I didn't know key pieces of information that would have undermined his entire investigation to Trump. The fact that he utilized opposition research against Trump that was purchased directly by Clinton, the Steele dossier, with sources directly, one Russian intelligence source, that should tell you something. But emails show FBI's mad scramble to correct James Comey's testimony about Huma Abedin. Washington Examiner. This is really, really interesting. Emails show FBI officials scrambled to correct the record after then Director James Comey provided inaccurate testimony, so he committed perjury. So Daniel Chayton. So it's interesting. Here's how convoluted it all is. Okay, so in Senate testimony on May 3rd, 2017, Comey said Huma Abedin made a regular practice of forwarding hundreds of thousands of emails from her boss to her husband and former Congressman Anthony Weiner, some of which were classified. So classified emails were found on Huma Abedin's laptop. Comey said Abedin did this so Weiner could print out the emails. That's absurd. Even stating that is the case is so absurd. Notice how plausible deniability does not exist in Trump world. There's no way that Trump or Manafort or anyone could get away with this. And Manafort, whether he committed crimes or not, the way they found those crimes was illegal. That's a whole other story. But they set up and framed innocent people like Carter Page, George Papadopoulos, General Michael Flynn, and President Trump. And after 2 years of an investigation, the Mueller report found absolutely nothing. But the FBI, which had seized Huma Abedin's laptop as part of a criminal investigation, and it was texting into her husband's texting of a student, found Comey's assertion to be widely overstated. On May 8th, ProPublica reported the officials were working to correct the record. Well, what does it matter if it was overstated or not? This is interesting. Let's see, in an email thread beginning at 6:45 a.m. on May 9th, FBI officials frantically conversed about drafting a letter to Congress. The email thread involving nearly a dozen officials had the subject line, Comey's testimony on Huma Abedin forwarding emails was inaccurate. ProPublica. Then they say, you know what, this is how absurd everything is. They're worried about the public relations spin and how it would affect the Clinton campaign. Meanwhile, they're setting up and actively framing President Trump and actively feeding information to the media to undermine Trump's campaign. The ProPublica article, this is an interesting one too. James Comey's testimony on Huma Abedin forwarding emails was inaccurate. What was inaccurate about it? The fact that she was forwarded emails is, even if it was infrequent, is still against the law. You can't forward emails outside of the United States government so if someone prints them. That's against the law. You can't forward classified intelligence outside of the United States government. The FBI hasn't decided how to correct the director's false claim that she forwarded thousands of emails to the laptop computer of her husband. Here we have, oh, well, she didn't forward the emails. She backed them up. Okay, so other officials said it was likely that most of the emails got to the computer as a result of backups or for Blackberry. Well, who cares? What do you think that they would be? General Michael Flynn or Carter Page, you were backing up classified intelligence outside of the United States government. ProPublica is a good site. I like their work. I do. I like their work. But what does it matter? She did forward, according to sources, including one long, Abedin forwarded only a handful of Clinton emails. Okay, for her husband to print. Really? There weren't printers at the State Department? There weren't printers at the Chappaqua residence where she was uploading information? So they were, in terms of public relations, the FBI was bending over backwards, and they had to notify the country that not only did Clinton have top secret and special access program intelligence outside of the United States government, but she also had it on Huma Abedin's husband's laptop, where you had to use a hazmat suit and 30 cans of Lysol and every disinfectant known to man, including rubber gloves. Well, the hazmat suit, includes that. Because he was doing you-know-what with the laptop. Or who knows what. But it wasn't sanitary. Pictures of himself to the planet. To people who were, should never have had. That's why he went to prison. And if I kind of speak in like this roundabout way a lot, it's because I'm, trying to, YouTube policies. You literally can't talk about the crimes of Democrats. So Anthony Weiner did a lot of things that you shouldn't have done, or did things you shouldn't have done. And if you get into detail, well, then guess what? It's even against YouTube policies. But the whole thing was, the result of backups. Other officials said it was more likely it got into the computer. Clinton's classified emails got on a computer outside the United States government because of backups. Well, who cares? Who cares? How does this exonerate Clinton? This only adds more fuel to the fire. Comey testified that investigators searching the laptop in the days before the election also found that somehow her emails are being forwarded to Anthony Weiner, including classified information. Abedin, he later testified, appears to have a regular practice of forwarding emails to him. Then the issue was, well, it wasn't forwarded, it was backed up on her computer. And there wasn't hundreds of classified emails, there were only a couple classified emails. Well, what's the difference? One classified email is enough to get anyone associated with Trump sent to Pelican Bay. So we're now finding out that the FBI was so worried about the public relations spin. These emails have come out. All these FBI, it talks to this article in the Washington Examiner by Daniel Chaitin, great journalist. Talk about how, oh my goodness, so all these FBI agents were so worried about the harm it could do to Clinton's campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a failed cover-up. They failed at covering up Clinton's criminal acts. So when they said, when Comey said, yeah, she did this, this, okay, all of these bad things But we just couldn't find intent, and no reasonable prosecutor would prosecute. Well, no reasonable prosecutor would have gone after Carter Page, any of them, General Michael Flynn, George Papadopoulos, were it not for a Steele dossier that was utilized to start this entire phony, bogus investigation into Trump. They utilized fraudulent information. It is against the law. They cannot do that. You can't say, well, there was suspicion, so we used a document that was made up. That wouldn't work for your local police department. If you found a police officer that said, like Peter Strzok said, we will stop this guy, we will stop this person, we will stop this person. The police department would lose the lawsuit. The DA would lose the lawsuit. You can't, look, they're already investigating. There's already the IG report where people say, oh, it's not going to be anything. The IG is very likely going to be a watered-down type of, well, they did this wrong, they did that wrong, they did this wrong, but their heart was in a good place. Okay, fine. It doesn't matter. John Durham, if you read John Durham's Wikipedia page, John Durham has a history of going after corrupt public officials, and he's sent to prison numerous ones, not just the FBI official in Boston. Other people. He has a history of that. So, they're compiling. When William Barr says, well, there's a lot of questions I have, and we're just wondering if Trump was spied on or surveilled in a lawful manner. Do you think he's being just cute? Do you think that he's well, obviously he's being diplomatic. Do you think he really thinks? He really just wonders. He's naive. He doesn't know what time it is. He doesn't know what's really going on. You really think that William Barr, of all people, second time at the Justice Department, you think that John Durham doesn't know what's going on? They know the Steele dossier was nonsense. They know the Manafort ledger was nonsense. They know that CrowdStrike is the only company to look at DNC servers, and CrowdStrike gave the information not to the FBI, their analysis, they gave it to the DNC. The DNC, Clinton essentially, who's running again, I'll wait until after this, later on in this segment to tell you again. Do you think that 2 to 3 years of a fabricated investigation was for Botox Biden? To pave the way for Biden because the Democratic Party actually is a political party? No. The Democratic Party is Republican light on most things. They have to foment the most idiotic and ignorant imbeciles to say the most outlandish things that, of course, don't lead to political or repercussions on social media because everything is tied to silencing any viewpoint, and also it's progressives too, like to the far left and conservative, the nice doughy middle, and the people who pretend to be have these goofy names on Twitter, like like this. If you see like any goofy nonsensical name, those are the like long goofy nonsensical name, like I don't know, like Ulysses S. Grant's proctologist, a Democratic operative. I don't know. These like nonsensical, ridiculous, absurd Twitter handles. They think they're so cool. Like, and then they have like other friends who are like, oh yeah, Nancy Pelosi's dentist. Oh. Those are the people to the left of Bernie Sanders. Those are the people to the left of Bernie Sanders who think Bernie Sanders is a misogynist. And they'll vote for Clinton. And they hate Biden, Biden's really bad. Botox Biden isn't going to be the nominee. It's going to be Clinton. But to prove my point, or it's going to prove, those people are like, oh yeah, they don't realize that they have cozied up to a corrupt intelligence community with corrupt intelligence officials fomenting a Red Scare McCarthy-era 1950s Cold War myth, fantasy, bogus hoax. And they think that, well, it's helping our side. Trump could have worked with Russia. Who knows? They know very well, at least the intelligent ones, which are few and far between on the left, that know that Trump never did anything like that. He just won. In the Huffington Post, I was writing that Trump, in 2015, was going to defeat Clinton if she was the nominee. Now you have Bernie Sanders, who's like, I'll get to him in a second, but you think they're doing this all for Botox Biden? No. The same goofy leftists who are like, Biden is unacceptable, man. They're going to vote for Clinton when she runs. She's coming in at one point in November. The fact that people think this is like outlandish for me to say, or like so, outrageous. It's like, nobody cares. No, we don't want to hear it. Hey, you do care. It's important. It's important to be mentally and emotionally ready. It's happening. I'm preparing you for the eventuality. You think Clinton, she's younger than Trump? She's younger than Biden. She's younger than Bernie. She's a woman. And then somebody the other day said on my channel, he's like, I'm unsubbing. You're defending Clinton. I'm like, okay, that's that's an interesting take on my viewpoint. She's running again, and she's going to not just run. When Clinton runs, she essentially the Golden Muumuu controls the DNC. So there is no Democratic Party. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's an extension of me, Bubba Bill. What's up? Hooray! Pull on my extension. Come on now. Come on now. You know how people say pull on my finger? Well, I'm telling you, I'm an extension. The Democratic Party is an extension of me. And I want you to pull on that. What's up? The Democratic Party is an extension of Bubba Bill and Madam Cyberhack, the Golden Muumuu. And my point in bringing up the goofy name Twitter bots are that they're going to rally around Clinton. All of this was the Democrats don't have anything that get people like really passionate. So their only thing they foment the fact that Trump is the worst person in human history. He's the worst example of humanity. Even though Trump's economy, this country under Trump is better off than at any point under President Obama. Better off economically in terms of foreign policy. Notice how the media drums up all this hysteria regarding that country and this country and never talks about the fact that Trump was the first American to ever meet with a North Korean leader. Never gives Trump any credit for anything. Record low unemployment, First Step Act, prison reform legislation. Never gives Trump any 500,000 manufacturing jobs created, or jobs filled. We have well over a million jobs more than workers to fill those jobs in America. This is the first time in like 50, 60 years, something like that. Wages are up. So the only thing they have is the media, and they used to have Russia. That whole thing's gone, is done. They had obstruction, but they realized that it was nonsense. They're too cowardly to impeach Trump, so they know that they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They can't go soft on Trump anymore because I like to keep it, 100. They have to go hard on Trump, but they can't impeach him, which basically essentially means that everything they say is nonsense. They don't have the courage to act upon their alleged value system. So now what are they going to do? From here on out, they're going to try and break the will and break the spirit of the average American. And they're going to try to make you so unhappy with the news that you just say, make it stop, make it stop. It'll be like that scene from Silence of the Lambs, but except it'll be the country. The country puts lotion on itself. What does the guy say? The country puts lotion on itself. The country will follow directions. It'll be like that, except it'll be the country puts lotion on itself. That's what they'll do. The country puts lotion on itself. The country follows directions, or the country will get the hose. And that's what the media and Democrats will try to do. They'll try to just rip any happiness away from the average American, make everything gloomy, doom, the most horrible thing possible, to get people to say, finally, I'll vote against Trump. Yeah, the economy's good, life is better, but for some reason I think life is worse, so I'll vote against Trump. And who are they going to vote for? The Golden Muumuu. Biden is not going to be, this is a charade, worse than Trump Russia. Just as bad, actually. This is a charade. Oh, they have 20 candidates. 20 candidates. Well, they don't have candidates. They have people who are basically paving the way for Clinton. It is so obvious. And at the end of every one of my 25 to 30 minute segments, whatever, I'm going to vent. Because you have to hear this. It's enjoyable for me. I hope it's enjoyable for you. It probably isn't, but I have to just vent. HES from now till November. It could be quick with a whole bunch of articles saying, and then finally she's like, oh my God, she's running. Or it could be like, God forbid, Biden, that injection from Botox didn't work. Oh, he looks like a giant pumpkin. Oh no, who will save us? Why aren't I 50 points ahead? Oh my God, I hear her. She's here, she's back. You want me to run? Yeah, oh. And then the goofy named people like, Chuck Schumer's, financial advisors, dog walker. And then like the Red Rose, you see. They're the ones who are like, yeah, Biden is unacceptable, man. And then they're pretending it's all about Bernie. Like, well, the DNC cheated Bernie. You remember? Because Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign. They don't remember that. They don't care about that. You can push so far. On the left, there's only so far you can go without being a heretic. And that's what'll be their demise. I'm telling you, the Connor Lambs and the Tulsi Gabbards of the world, and Connor Lamb and Tulsi Gabbard are somewhat different, but they will be the new generation when Clinton implodes the party, which will be a fantastic national holiday called the next election when she loses again. Give me your thoughts below. Clinton will lose to Trump again. She's going to run again. This is all charade. But James Comey actually was worried about how the information regarding Huma Abedin transferring classified intelligence would affect the Clinton campaign. Now, how nice of him. Give me your thoughts below. If you want to support my voice long-term, my Patreon is below. And check out my writing in the Federalist that was shared by Rush Limbaugh. It is below. Thank you so much, everyone. Definitely. Last night I couldn't, but I will definitely be back tonight. Check the channel like around, I'd say about 9 p.m. Pacific. Around 9 p.m. Pacific. Be here on this channel. Thank you.